Jen picked up actually Michael Blanc's book,
the yellow book.
The yellow book, and it started our journey and opened our eyes to this whole other world of real estate investing.
Welcome to this episode of the Success Journey of Real Estate Investors. Hi, my name is Brooke Ceballos Pinheiro. I'll be your host for today. The goal of our show is to meet people who have closed on their first deals and the Michael Blanc products or services that got them there. So let's get to it. Today we have Thomas and Jennifer Fawcett. Welcome. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Brooke.
We're doing great.
Beautiful. So let's just get right to it. Let's get into the goods. Tell me a little bit about yourself, what you're currently doing now, and your investing business.
Okay, well, we're actually investors from Iowa, and we have a family of 5 kids, and Jen and I, and we've been in investing probably for about 7 years now. Our journey started with, like for many people, getting excited about looking at diversifying our income, getting multiple streams of income, and we started with single-family homes and some small multifamily homes here in Des Moines. And it was about 2 years ago that Jen picked up actually Michael Blanc's book,
The yellow book.
The yellow book, and it started our journey and opened our eyes to this whole other world of real estate investing. Maybe you could fill us in a little bit on how we started to shift from what our trajectory was to multifamily.
Yeah, well, I'm not really a math person, but I was doing the math on our single family homes versus our duplexes. And I just realized that our duplex was cash flowing quite nicely over our single family homes. And I just realized if we could put more doors under one roof and somehow just go bigger. I mean, we were kind of talking about a 4-plex or maybe an 8-plex or something like that. But then somebody challenged me. I was just kind of networking with some other people that do larger type apartment buildings. And somebody said, why look at 18 when you could do for the same amount of work, you could look at a 25 or a 50 unit apartment building. So I said, wait, I think we need to get educated. And that's when I just figured we need to have some mentors here. We need to figure out how we become educated around this, because this is a whole different ballgame compared to single family homes and duplexes. But we were ready to jump in. So that's kind of how it started.
And to top it off, you guys have 5 kids. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, we do have 5 kids, and Tom and I don't work necessarily. I mean, I do work, but I homeschool the 5 kids, so that's kind of my day job. So
you look fantastic, by the way.
Oh,
Thank you. Look great. I know because I have 2 daughters, and then my husband has 2 daughters. So, and today's one of our oldest daughters, our 18th birthday today. So after this, we're going to kind of go celebrate. But that is fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you. So let me know, how were you able to juggle 5 kids and take care of this investment journey? How do you manage that?
Yeah, so I'll jump in here because I'm a huge proponent of block scheduling, and Thomas and I block schedule, and that starts early at 4:30 in the morning. We kind of have our morning, well, I do anyways, and kind of bring him into it. But and a lot of our real estate, actually, this is probably our biggest challenge, but it happens early in the morning before the kids get up, and then after they go to bed at night. And so sometimes we're kind of like, hey, you guys want to network at 9 o'clock at night? We can't get a whole lot of interest in that, but that's okay, but a lot of it happens just when the kids are asleep. And I do feel like we have an infant again in terms of how much sleep we're getting, because we're tired a lot of the time, but we're willing to put in the time to accomplish some of our goals. So.
And may I ask how old your kids are?
So our oldest is 15 and our youngest is 7. So they're all about 2 years apart. And I work full-time in the ag industry. And so both we treat it, Jen is full-time homeschooling and working with the kids. I'm full-time with my day job in agriculture. And so we really do, I think we're a good story of how you can do this multifamily investing with a W-2, with full-time work, and you can be very successful and even scale to large multifamily assets while working a full-time job. So that's one of the things that we're excited about.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you read Michael Blanc's, the famous yellow book, right? The Financial Freedom with Real Estate Investing. Are there any other avenues with Michael Blanc that you joined in? Did you ever attend his deal maker mastermind? Are you familiar with his analyzer, or was that, you know what, this golden book was enough just to get it started and you ran with it?
We're actually probably Michael Blanc's biggest fans. So we read
Aren't
the
we
book.
all?
Yeah.
So we read the book, and then I actually I do love spreadsheets and the numbers, and that's one of the things I really focus on. I've tried a few other spreadsheets and templates for underwriting, and then I found the SDA, and that was just a game changer. So we signed up for the SDA and started to underwrite properties with that. So at that point in our journey, we were realizing that what we really needed, especially having this on the side of all this other work we had going on, we really needed structure to hold us accountable to be able to meet the goals that we had. And that's when we decided to sign up for the mentorship, because we knew that if we put the money into the mentorship program, that would elevate the intensity by which we were going to go after making this happen. So in the evenings when it was hard to underwrite, it was hard to set the time aside when we were tired and we had other things going on, signing up for the mentorship actually gave us that accountability to ensure that we were going to put the time into making this happen. So we did. So once we signed up for the mentorship, we've been a part of the mastermind, the mentorship program, really engaged in the rest of the education that Michael Blanc offers. And we've just found it incredibly successful and helpful for us. We did close on our first property this last summer. So it was about 8 or 9 months into our mentorship. We got 136 unit property closed. So that was way bigger than we ever imagined we could do. And that was largely due to all the resources and connections that we made through the program. So we highly recommend Michael Blanc's program. We love his philosophy. We love how he incorporates his family into his business. His faith journey is aligned with our faith journey in terms of pursuing this as Christians and wanting to really make a difference beyond just the real estate investing. So for all those reasons, we really like his platform.
Yep.
So I'm glad you brought up your first property, because that was my next question. It's a great segue in. So tell me about, everybody says, your first deal one is the most difficult. It's so hard. However, the law of the first deal, right? The rest of them kind of come like clockwork. So tell our audience what that was like for you guys, with your first deal, the pros and the cons, and how has your life changed since then, now trying to go on to the next deal?
I think, well, because under the Michael Blanc mentorship program, we were working one-on-one with a mentor, and that was so valuable and important, because you're underwriting these really large numbers, and we were familiar with how rental properties worked and the numbers, and Thomas really goes after that well. But there's a lot of zeros behind the type of properties that we were underwriting, and so to have to work alongside a mentor, to have him oversee kind of what we were coming up with in terms of our underwriting and how we were processing things was just incredibly valuable. So that was huge, and I'm not sure. I don't think we would have put in some of those letters of intent to purchase a property without having the guidance of a mentor, just because you're raising a lot of money and it's not your money. And so you have a fiduciary responsibility to know what you're doing and to make sure that the numbers are accurate. And so your projections are good projections. So, and based on facts and data. So that was very valuable. And so, and yes, things have changed. We were reaching out to brokers consistently before, and now, we're getting phone calls from brokers. There was just a couple properties this last week that we got a phone call about, and we would have had to reach out and find those opportunities before, but we are getting phone calls. We are a viable buyer now. And so that's been kind of cool. It's been neat. So, but the mindset really did have to shift, that we can do this. We can do large properties. Partnering is huge. Thomas didn't mention, but we did partner with other syndicators that had more experience than us. That is key to doing larger deals if you're going to go that route. So, partnerships are huge. So networking, partnerships, and all of that that's looking the same. I mean, we're doing the same exact things that we were before, just continuing to do that, and now being seen in the industry as a viable buy, as people that can close. So
That's huge. So I'm going to rewind really quick. You had mentioned how structure was so important, and I completely agree. So are there any tools that you would recommend that helped you guys with structure, whether, when you're managing a family and you're managing, full-time jobs and you're syndicating and your partnership, what type of tools helped your success?
Yeah, that's probably, we read a few years ago, what was the book? The Miracle Morning, yes.
What was it?
Should remember that. But we read Miracle Morning, and
Miracle
it's been
Morning.
something that we've been working on for years, to develop a morning routine where we get up early and we're able to get quite a bit of work done before the normal day starts, before Jen starts getting ready for the school day, before I leave and go work at my W-2. So it's been incredibly helpful for us to carve that time out, and it's easier for us to get more work done in the morning than it is at night. A lot of times it just seems like it's harder to dive into underwriting it in the evening.
yeah, it really sets the trajectory of the day. And then actually something that I started at the beginning of 2020, I believe it was 2020, was we said that we would do small, consistent action each day. So something every single day towards working towards our larger goals, even our short-term goals and then long-term goals. And then also I said that every week I would make one difficult phone call. And that was huge. That little thing was huge in just getting me over the hump of being uncomfortable, talking to people about things that were asking questions that I thought were silly questions. I'm always telling my kids there are no silly questions, you need to ask them. But then I needed to practice what I preach. And I needed to get on the phone with lenders and brokers and just get over that hump. It's become so much easier. Now we probably make difficult phone calls all the time, but just making one difficult phone, and a lot of times it was Friday at 3 o'clock, but that's okay.
People are like checked out.
Yes, that one difficult phone call. So just small, consistent action and getting uncomfortable once a week or once a day. I think those consistent steps is really, really what propelled us forward, along with having a morning routine that was consistent. And he is my business partner, so we were making sure that we meet every morning to talk about, the things that we need to get done that week.
And I'm glad you guys are like, you're my vibe. You're just flowing, because that was my next question, because you guys are a couple. There's only been one other couple. And the dynamic is so huge that you have your spouse, your partner on the same page. So it's kind of a two-part question. One, how did you guys both get on the same page to ensure you are rowing in the same direction? And two, how do you ensure that you guys are supporting each other and kind of, when someone needs a timeout or, hey, tag, how is your communication as a couple, and how has that contributed to your success doing this together? Pros and cons, good, bad, and ugly. Let's hear it.
So
pretend I'm Oprah. No, I'm just kidding.
Throughout the whole real estate journey, we've been doing this together. Starting from when I first started listening to Bigger Pockets, and was like, hey, Jen, you should start to listen to this. I mean, that was, again, almost probably 8 years ago that we started that. And we love working together. We've always had a passion about, building a business together that could be a blessing to our family, could be a blessing to others, giving back to our community. So that's something that we've shared a vision for. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that we have a foundation, and ours is our foundation of faith that roots us in a way that we can resolve. We have that foundation that we can resolve arguments. We can be reflective and come back to each other and work on forgiving each other. That's probably the biggest. Sorry, our equipment is falling apart. It's probably the biggest thing that I would say is learning to forgive one another, and then to be self-reflective. So what am I contributing? What am I doing to contribute to the conflict that's happening? Because when you do start a business, you bring all these new elements into a relationship that you didn't have before. And there's been challenges that I don't know we would have had to overcome or they might have looked different if we weren't in business together. And so it's really important to have those core elements of forgiveness and self-reflection at the heart of your marriage, or else there's going to be problems that arise. And that's how we've been able to work through the challenges. And I think it's helped our marriage grow in a lot of ways that we might not have had those same challenges or those same things we needed to overcome. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, I think just what he said was great. A lot of times we'll just take, if there's a disagreement, we'll take a break from each other and really be reflective on how we could have communicated that better. And a lot of times when we just think about how we could have communicated that better, we just are able to resolve things, I guess. And I'm kind of a driver, and I do not like to waste time. And I know that we are not productive if we are in an argument. So I'm like, let's get this done. Let's get this over with. It's not inauthentic. I am very sorry. A lot of times it's my mistake because he's got so much. He's just very calm and steady, and I need that. We have very complementary skill sets. However, I do want to move forward, and I know we cannot produce, and there can't be productivity if we're in this argument. So,
and we're gonna save this and play it back next week when we have.
You're like, babe, remember when you said
we're
this?
struggling through something.
Yeah.
But that's so true. You were spot on, because one thing that I've heard from other couples, and myself and my husband included, is in the mornings before the kids wake up, we're having our coffee, we're reconnecting, we're discussing our day, right? And I'm like you, Jennifer, I'm like, let's go, vámonos, let's move it. So if I, even if I'm not right, and I'm sure he can vouch for this if he's listening somewhere in there, it's like, I want to move on. I'm like, you know what? I'm sure I messed up along the way. I'm so sorry, amor. It won't happen again. I will be more, active, and forgiving quickly, moving on, having clear communication. And I think that's fantastic. So that is something I've heard from the previous couples, as well as I think it was Ken and Rachel Wick of Higher Point Investing. They had mentioned the same thing as well. So that's phenomenal.
We love Ken and Rachel, by the way.
They're actually
Ken and Rachel?
They're really good friends of ours. They're investing in our hometown, like right down the street, which is awesome. We love them.
I was just speaking with Rachel right before this conversation. I was like, Rachel, babe, I can't. She said, call me. And I was like, I can't talk right now. I have to do another interview like I did with you. I go, so I promise.
That's funny.
Small
That's
world,
great.
right? Birds of a feather. So the money mindset, this is another question you may have heard me ask people previously. A lot of people have this scarcity mindset. They have a hard time asking people for millions of dollars and may not see it as you're offering a solution to people to multiply their income. How did you address that? And was it difficult in the beginning? And if so, how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I think listening to podcasts and being in the community really helps you start to reframe your mindset around, this is an opportunity. You're not asking somebody to donate to a cause. You're actually offering them an opportunity, and especially now with what we're seeing in the economy, and you look back and see what the benefit would have been if you would have invested 6 months ago, a year ago. And it becomes very clear that getting your money into a hard asset and an asset that has the resiliency of multifamily real estate, this is a great opportunity that we're offering people. And one of the reasons we really wanted to get into doing real estate syndication is for that reason. We've talked to people for the last almost decade about getting into real estate. You should try this. You should buy a single family home. Look at what we're doing. And they've been looking at it like, that's way too much work. We're not going to start to invest. So one of the reasons we wanted to get into syndication is because we could open up that opportunity for more people to put their money in and to be, as Jen was saying, to be completely passive in that passive role.
What would you say to people, and the people who are watching who are on the fence? They don't know if they should get started, they're scared, whatever it might be. What do you say to them? And also, what are some credible sources, podcasts that you listen to that you might also assist them in making a decision?
I think the first thing that I think I've learned is, it's a principle, the idea of counting the cost of what it's going to take to make this happen. And I think that it's been a little more difficult and challenging than I thought it was going to be. But at the same time, the benefits are greater and larger than what we imagined that they were going to be. So that's something that I think should motivate. It both should be something that that you really think about, and then also something that should increase your motivation to go after it. I think surrounding yourself with podcasts, there's so many out there. The more that you listen to people that are succeeding, it does change your mindset around, can I do this? And is it something that I can achieve? And that is a great way to very easily be able to start to surround yourself with successful voices and successful stories that allow you to start to envision what this would look like for you to be able to accomplish that. You want to add something?
I think that's great. Yeah, no, I think that, what Thomas said, just surrounding yourself with people that are doing what you want to do and they are where you want to be. I also think that you have to get educated. You have to take the time to educate yourself, whether that's through a mentorship program or I think that, listening to podcasts is only going to get you too far. You have to jump in. You have to take action. We learned so much on that first deal, closing that first deal. That's not in podcasts. It's not even in books. You have to take action alongside of a mentor or a partner with more experience, another syndicator. You have to take that action, because walking through the actual deal process from start to finish. And then now we're on the asset management side, having closed the deal, we're walking through asset management with an experienced operator. So you can only get so much through podcasts and books. You have to take action.
And I think I would add one other thing, Brooke, especially for people that have done single family homes and they're looking at transitioning over to multifamily. The idea of partnership is so foreign when you're in the single family home realm. It's very much everyone's out for themselves, and this is a competitive environment. And then you start moving into syndication and you realize, wow, all these people are partnering, they're building relationships, they're engaging with one another. This is so much different than the single family home realm. And I think that being open to what value can I add, and maybe be a smaller part of a GP, but that I can get that experience, just like what Jen was saying, the experience of actually walking through the process of an actual deal and moving to closing and then into asset management is invaluable. So yeah, you definitely have to take the action, be open to partnerships, and finding people that you align with and trying to work on adding value to their operation.
So that being said, how do you guys choose the people that you work with?
I think, so when we look at kind of our journey so far, there's so many opportunities now, especially with Zoom and with meetings that we can have across the country. It's been really easy to schedule a lot of connections with people across the country. And it just naturally starts to emerge where we will resonate with another group that is working on other components, and we are figuring out, okay, do our gifts align? Sometimes we're meeting with people and we have the same skill set, and we might end up just being friends and supporting each other, but we wouldn't really necessarily have room on a GP together because we're both doing the same components.
Right.
Then there's certain groups that individuals that you're meeting with where you realize, wow, this is really a synergy that is starting to emerge where we complement each other's gifts and how we could work together. So that's it just seems like it's naturally happening, and it also happens around where people have interest. So if you're looking at a certain market, other people are looking in that market, and it naturally will bring people together.
Yeah,
I love it. So I have two more questions for you. One, what is a word or phrase that you would say describes your real estate journey?
Hold on
well,
one second. Just
we
wait before you answer, so I can get this.
can edit this.
I can hold the camera up.
You're good. You're good. We're chill.
We kind of thought about this actually ahead of time, because I heard it on another interview, but I think consistent action. Oh no, well, mine was consistent action, but then Thomas came up with one that was better, and he said,
well, I don't know if it's better, but we'll give you both of them. They're both good. Yeah, consistent action. We talked about that a little bit. Jen was talking about the ideas And that was kind of from the book, The Compound Effect, that we had read a while ago, and just the idea of, consistently working towards our goals. The other one was actually, it was a book title that Jen came up. This is a book she's going to write, and it's called Strength.
Yes, put it in the
It's called-
universe. So now we
Yes.
all hear it. We all hear you, Jennifer. Jennifer Fawcett
Okay, this is
is
what I
writing
need.
a book. Let's hear it. Pressure's on, baby. What's the
Oh yeah, in my free time. Yep. Yep.
It's called Strength from Within, and it's built around the idea that that strength comes from within the family, and how we and looking at our faith and our family, and how we can build strength that actually allows us to do more with our families. You hear a lot of times people talk about, like, oh, I can't do that, I've got kids, I can't do, we can't do this because the kids are doing this. Our mindset was really changed in the last few years around the reality that we can actually accomplish more. We can actually accomplish more with our family, with the kids that we have, as we all work together towards shared goals, and as they start to learn what it means to be an active member of our family. We can accomplish more than we could without our kids, without our family. And that idea extends to what we're doing as we're building our syndication business, that we can really extend from our group. We're partnered with Jen's brother and sister-in-law. They have a design build company in Des Moines, John and Hannah. We've partnered with them because they bring a asset management role onto our team. That's really, really amazing. We're talking about how we have complementary skill sets. They are a group that really complements what we're doing. Jen's dad's doing some capital raising for us, and we're also partnering with some other capital raisers. And the idea that just as we're working as a GP unit to create opportunities and value for those LP investors, I thought it kind of fit. But someday Jen's gonna write the book.
It
Strength
does.
from Within.
There's a lot of when strength comes from within, then we can produce great results. But the foundation has to be strong.
I love that. So I lied. I said I had only 2 questions left, but you said something and it made about the family and everybody contributing. So you guys have 5 kids. Okay. So do they work in the business? And I didn't know that. So Tom Wheelwright, who wrote Tax-Free Wealth, and he also started Wealthability, the CPA firm. If you haven't heard of him, he's absolutely phenomenal. Talks about using your kids and they get a tax write-off and all of the things. Are they scanning receipts and uploading them to Dropbox, or are they an active part at all in any sector of it?
So they were very active in our single family homes. They did quite a bit of work as we were actually laboring on the rehabs and doing work in the business. As we've been moving into the syndication, we are finding ways for them to be engaged. We're still working on how that actually looks in terms of what that engagement looks like on a regular basis, but we are talking with them quite a bit. They're a part of what we do. They do go on walkthroughs with us. Actually, the brokers really like when we show up with the kids, because we look
not all 5 of them, but just a few of them.
Yes.
We look like potential tenants. So when we're walking through properties, we look like potential tenants rather than investors walking through, and so it seems like they don't mind having them with us. So we have them doing some photography. They've gone on walkthroughs with us, and they're just around what we're doing all the time. The way our family kind of operates is we're all talking about these things, we're discussing it. So they're very much a part of what we're doing. They know all the properties that we're underwriting, and they've started talking about things in millions, which we say, don't talk to your friends about how expensive all this stuff is. So, it's been neat to engage them in the process. We don't really have formal roles that they've moved into, or we've read Ink and Grow Rich, but we haven't actually started to implement some of those tax strategies yet in terms of how you can actually employ your kids. We're looking to do that as we sort of get our systems in place.
Yeah, and I think it takes 2 coming up with an org chart for your business, because then you can easily fit the kids into one of those roles. So we're kind of just doing that right now. We're kind of dividing up what some of these roles look like and how might some of our kids fit into that? But that is our dream. That would be our passion. That's our passion, is that our kids would be involved in the business and they would catch a vision for it. And yes, they've been involved. They've done rehabs. I've had them stuff letters for direct or for campaigns, direct to seller, off market campaigns.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had them very much involved. So
And one of our kids told their pediatrician when she asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" He said, "A real estate syndicator."
yeah.
No way. Yeah, that is so awesome. That is so great.
Yeah, I didn't even ask him to say that.
You're like, I'll pay you later, babe. I'll pay
Yeah.
you later. So I know, so I'm gonna end it with this. I want to know, how can our audience connect with you? What's your social media handles? Where are you at? How can they contact you if they want to connect?
I think the best way to get a hold of us is on our website. It's www.vcpiowa.com. VCP stands for Vine Capital Partners.
Which I love your website, by the way. So before I do
cool.
these interviews, and of course I used to live in Sonoma County, wine country, and I moved, 2 hours east. I'm like, let's go check them out, and I saw, you guys, and then I'm assuming that was your father, and then there was another couple that was right there, and the vines and everything, and it was so beautiful. I'm like, what an excellent website. So you guys got to go check out their website, y'all. It's very beautiful. You guys have great information, FAQs for people who are new. So that is fantastic. So repeat it one more time for everybody.
www.vcpiowa.com. And that's probably the best way to get a hold of us. So
phenomenal. Is there any final words to say with the audience before I let you guys go?
Well, we'd say thanks, Brooke. We appreciate the interview. We do want to just give a shout out to the Michael Blanc team. It's been awesome. Everyone that we're engaged with has been phenomenal, really helpful. We did go to Dealmaker Live this last year, and we just think you guys have a really, really neat platform, and one that's been a huge blessing to us.
Yeah, and it was so great to be at that conference and to meet his family. I thought that was the neatest thing, that he had his family there. And so it was a great conference, and we'll be going back next year, and we highly recommend it. So yeah, thank you. We really appreciate the opportunity to be interviewed today. So thank you.
Of course, we appreciate your time and hanging out with me, and you guys made me laugh. So it's been a long day.
You got to keep laughing, right?
It's the imperfections, the little tech that makes it more fun,
Love it. That is we that we have 5 kids when there's just imperfections. They're all the time.
But that's better.
They're the normal.
You better, you're good. I appreciate you guys so much. I look forward to meeting you in the future, and we're so blessed to have you a part of the circle.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too.